You guys already know this the main one, tapping in all the way from H-Town, Houston, Texas. I'm here with my boy T.A.G.
T.A.G.
T.A.G, very nice, very evil.
Yeah, that's T.A.G shit.
The only thing we're gonna do is take over, baby.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine.
What up, T.A.G Nation? What it is, what it was, and what it do. It's your boy another edition NXT.A.G. Now, we are building towards this next week's show. We have 3 more NXT ladder match qualifiers, and let's get to it. The first one up, Evolve champ Jackson Drake taking on Joe Hendry. When it cuts to the back, you see that Joe Hendry is on the ground and the Vanity Project is standing over him, Drake, with a chair. Now, of course, they was like, hey, it wasn't us. We found him here, blah, 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 all that hoopla, hoorah. And pretty much because of that, Ava ends up giving him a bye because she was like, well, we truly can't prove you did it, but since Joe Hendry is down, you're in the match. Now, at the same time, if Joe Hendry happens to recover and he's fine by next week, he's going to be in the match too, which is seemingly is going to make it a 6-man to a 7. Now, I was thinking to myself when they said this, why didn't they just have a 7-person ladder match to begin with if they wanted to put both Drake and Hendry in here? Jackson Drake could have took on somebody else. Joe Hendry could have took on somebody else. That way, both of these men could have been in the match instead of now making it a 7-man ladder match. But, you know, whatever. So, since that happened, they had to scramble to the next match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. You got Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars representing Dark State, taking on Bronco Nima, Lucian Price, OTM. Hard hitting, directing and starring in it. You know, one of the things I guess I dislike in wrestling, WWE has it a lot, but I know it's a wrestling trope in general. I hate when we get these nice championship matches or seemingly good matches, and then they get ruined by interference or whatever. Because that's what happened in this match. Literally, OTM and Dark State was having them a tussle. Hell, I can't even remember if Cutler even interfered like that. But the match ended with Vanity Project all of a sudden wanted to come to the ring. They caused interference, which caused Saquon to pretty much roll up. I can't remember which member of OTM, but he rolled him up. He tried to use the ropes, but he was a little too far. But he was supposed to use the ropes to get the dub. But then when Vanity Project comes out, then here comes Hank and Tank to beat up Vanity Project. Then Chase U comes out, and it was mainly more of Uriah jumping in to just beat up some people or trying to beat up people. Then while Dark State is celebrating in the ring, the Culling attacks them. So we got all of these teams vying for the NXT Tag Team Championship. And I was like, I'm fine with that being a thing. 1000% fine with that being a thing. But it had to have a fuck finish, as Lip Dizzle would say. Like, we couldn't get a just regular match and, you know, all of that craziness happens afterwards. Like, it had to end this way. That's my only issue. Other than that, fine match. We just could have got a definite winner or loser without interference. That's all I'm saying. Then we get Blake Monroe back there. She eventually starts talking to Nikita, and pretty much Nikita Lyons. I know it's been a while since we said that name on NXT, but pretty much Nikita Lyons is saying, hey, I know you having an issue with Jada. Let me take care of Jada for you. You know, you just sit back, relax. Let me handle Jada. So later on, we're going to get Nikita versus Jada Parker. Actually, not later on. Next up. Next up, we get Jada Parker, first match back, taking on Nikita Lyons. Now, in case you've been wondering, or if not, Nikita has been wrestling on Evolve. So if you wonder what Nikita has been at pretty much all of this time, she's pretty much been on Evolve for the last 4-ish months, roughly. So she's been down there in Evolve, and I'm assuming this is kind of the quote-unquote reintroduction back, maybe. But she took on Jada. And she's kind of having this, what she called herself? The fairy sage mother or something like that. Like, don't know necessarily what the full gimmick is. But she took on Jada Parker. And Jada Parker got the dub. Jada Parker gets the dub. After Jada Parker gets the dub, Blake Monroe comes back on the screen, and she's pretty much saying, you know, I'm definitely have to introduce you to the glamour because, you know, you trying to take the spotlight type of energy. And it was like, all right, cool, bet. So pretty soon, we're going to get that Jada Parker versus Blake Monroe. Then we get a segment of Elio LaFleur, Eli Knight, and Tavion Heights back there talking. And, you know, Heights was basically saying that, you know, even though Elio and Eli, y'all lost, but hey, y'all still out there doing the damn thing. And, you know, there would be more time. There would be chances for y'all to get back in there. Then Lexis King, Stax, and Ariana show up. And Lexis King is pretty much, well, Lex is going to take on Tavion. So they pretty much kind of ruin the party kind of thing. And then, you know, it just kind of separates from there. Then we get a segment with the Elegance brand because I think it is M by Elegance and Heather by Elegance is taking on Zaruka for the TNA Knockouts Championship next week on NXT. So they pretty much, you know, Ash by Elegance, M by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, the Concierge, and newly added Mr. Elegance was all, you know, had a little segment, you know, saying boom, 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 boom. Then it cuts to Zarya back there giving Soul Ruka a call, and Soul was telling her something, and she was like, where are you even at? Pretty much, it sounds like, don't be surprised if we see Soul Ruka in the Women's Royal Rumble. Because she was like, where are you at? I can't even hear you, you know, so don't be surprised if we get Soul Ruka in the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm just throwing that out there. Then Thea Hale tries to talk to her about, you know, things get a little weird when you got friends and this, that, and the third. And pretty much Zarya was kind of trading shots like, hey, don't be talking about my friend like that. And she's like, I'm not trying to talk about it. I'm just saying, you know, friends can get weird. And then, you know, she was taking shots about Thea barely winning the championship and this, that, and the third. And it was like, that ain't cool, Zarya. Like, you ain't got to come at little Thea like that. Like, she ain't, you know what I'm saying? She ain't really do nothing. You know, she's just trying to, you know what I'm saying, make friends, per se. But pretty much it's going to lead into a match. Then we get Miles getting ready for his match against Dion Lennox. And then he runs into Ethan Page. And Ethan was like, you know, Miles, if you listen, you're going to qualify for this match. Boom, boom, boom. Then Saints show up. And then, you know, Miles gets all fired up. And he was like, Ricky, if I see you down there, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth, this, that, and the third. And then, Miles walking back all fired up, and Ethan was like, wow, Ricky, all it took for him to have to listen to you or see your face or something like that for him to get all fired up. Then we get to it. Let me make sure. Actually, yeah, then we pretty much get to it. Miles Bourne taking on Dion Lennox for a shot at that NXT ladder match. So pretty much standard match. We've seen these guys go at it before. Towards the end, Ethan Page runs out there and he's trying to get Miles to use his NXT North American Championship to use against Dion to get the dub. But he's kind of taking so long. He's kind of like, sitting there holding the belt, staring at it. The ref turns around and sees it, of course, takes the belt. Dion, hits Miles with his finisher, and 1, 2, 3. Big Dion is making it to the ladder match. And then Ethan gets in the ring and he was like, come on, dog. Like, I tried to help you out. You not listening. I gave you the belt. What you doing? You don't have what it takes to pull the trigger. And then Miles hits Ethan with the championship. And that's how that segment ends. Then we move on to Tony D. Well, sorry, Ricky was talking to Ava, and pretty much he was saying that when it's all said and done with, he's gonna address everybody. And then Tony D walks in and he starts talking to Ava, and pretty much he's like, Ava, why did you bail me out? And he was like, well, I know you're not that type of person. I understand things is new with you, weird with you, and all of these things. So pretty much it leads to Tony D is gonna pretty much explain himself come next week. Then we get to the Chase U segment where Andre Chase was talking to Uriah and Kale, and pretty much was like, what's going on? What y'all doing? And it was like, look, Uriah was like, look, I'm trying to go out there and make opportunities. Everybody else is out there trying to make their opportunity. I'm trying to do the same, and I don't know what I'm getting fussed at and yelled at about it. Then Lexus King and Lexus was like, I know your dad will be proud of you because I am, kind of thing. Because, I know your dad will be proud of you just like your dad will be proud of me. Then we get Lexus King, Tavion Heights. Once again, pretty standard fight between them two. We've seen it before. This time, Stax and Ariana show up. Lexus gets the dub. 1, 2, 3. Now, if we're looking at who, actually, I'll wait. Then, we get Zarya, Thea Hale. This match wasn't bad, but it was just the fact of how this match came about. You know what I'm saying? And Izzy Dame, pardon me, y'all. Izzy Dame was on commentary. And, next week, Izzy Dame is taking on Thea Hale and Lola Vice Triple Threat. And this wasn't a bad match between Zarya and Thea, but it was just kind of one of those, like, this match ain't had to happen. It's just the fact that, Zarya, you kind of zalty at the fact that, Soul isn't there. And when Thea was trying to be a friend of some sort, you was rah, Dungeon Dragon. Got upset, mad. So now we're here. Well, the closing moments of this match saw that while Izzy was on commentary, Tatum comes out of nowhere and kind of dives on Izzy. And from the little scuffle, Izzy runs in the ring. Tatum is chasing her. Zarya is, like Yoga likes to say, DIC. Distractions, interference, and confusion. From that, She's distracted. Thea rolls her up. Boom, gets the dub. Yeah. So now, of course, Thea has momentum going into the triple threat come next week. Then Fatal Influence shows up. Laney and Fallon surprisingly no JC. So I wonder, is JC potentially going to be in that Women's Royal Rumble too? Because she suspiciously wasn't there. But so after that, Thea is standing next to Zarya like, hey, I got your back. We can do this type of energy. And when she touched when Thea touched Zarya ends up hitting Thea with her F5 like maneuver, and it was like, dang, that's cold. And then Laney and Fallon was like, you know what? We wasn't even coming out here for nothing, big dog. We sorry. We're gonna just go on back to the back. You know what I'm saying? Just pretend we were not here kind of energy. So then we get Kendall, Ren, and Charlie back there talking. And Ren is basically saying how they was close to winning the match, that even though they didn't lose because they wasn't pinned. And Charlie was like, yeah, I guess you can see it that way. Kendall was distracted because Kendall's like, I know I can beat JC. And then once again, Stacks, Ariana, and oh my God, I just forgot his name. King rolls up in there and pretty much was like, hey, we need to talk. And pretty much you're one of us. Now, if we're looking at the way this is going, not so much Stacks, because Stacks has it through engagement. But if we're looking at the fact that we have Ariana, the daughter of Santino, Lexis King, the son of the late great Brian Pillman. They talked to Uriah Connors, who's the son of Fit Finley. And now they're talking to Charlie Dempsey, who is the son of William Regal. It seems like they're trying to get a legacy 2.0-ish type of thing going. Second, third generation. I think they say Uriah maybe fourth. But generational wrestlers together and form some type of group. That's what it seems like they're heading. So, we shall see. We shall see, right? Then we get to the last fight of the night. Andre Chase taking on Keanu Carver. Child, I knew going into this match that Andre Chase was in trouble. And this was the most one-sided, just why did Andre Chase even show up match of the night? Like, I'm really trying to remember, did Andre Chase even get some offense in? And if he did, it was very minimum. But pretty much Keanu Carver gets the dub. After he gets the dub, he even attacks Andre Chase at the end and kind of stomps him out on these steel steps. So I wonder, is that a way to pretty much kind of write off Chase for a little while? And then we get whatever we may get with this whole Uriah potentially splitting from Chase U kind of energy. I wonder if that's where this is going. Because I can't see what just happened to Andre Chase, and then he just magically shows up next week like, hi, everything is fine, type of energy. So yeah. And then from there, we pretty much get a ladder match participant summon, or a ladder match summit rather. So officially your ladder match next week for the NXT Championship: Ricky Saints, Jackson Drake, Sean Legacy, Keanu Carver, Dion Lennox, Did I say Jackson Drake? If I did say Jackson Drake, I think that's the 6. And like I said, remember, if Joe Hendry is cleared, he's going to be in it too. So those 6 are in the ring. Oh, I'm sorry, I did say Jackson Drake. I meant to say Shiloh Hill. Those are your 6 who are in the ring. They'll start talking. Ricky eventually comes out with a ladder, and he's basically saying, you know, I'm looking down on y'all. I'm trying to become 2-time champ. And then it leads to a brawl. Of course, right? Of course it leads to a brawl. Like, why would it not lead to a brawl? So it leads into a brawl. And then when Ricky was on top, Joe Hendry's music hits. Joe Hendry comes out. He hits Ricky Saints with a standing ovation. Keanu Carver comes in and hits Joe with his finisher, and boom. So seemingly showing that, hey, Joe Hendry is going to be good enough to be in this ladder match. Like I said before, why not just make 7 different qualifying matches instead of, oh, well, we kind of wanted all 7 of y'all to be in it anyway, kind of energy. So this is the way we're going to do it. When you could have just been like, oh, we're going to just have 7 men in the ladder match, kind of energy. But hey, whatever, right? So that's pretty much the end. So like I said, next week, 7-man ladder match to determine who's going to be your new NXT champion. Ricky Saints, Joe Hendry, Shiloh, Jackson Drake, Sean Legacy, Keanu Carver, and Dion Lennox. Women's North American Championship, Thea Hale, Lola Vice, Izzy Dane, and then we're going to get Tony D explaining, you know, why Tony D has been doing Tony D things. You know, so that's something to look forward to for sure come next week on NXT. And that's pretty much NXT for this evening. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if Soul and JC are going to be in that Women's Royal Rumble, since they was, oh, also, sorry, the TNA Knockouts Championship, the Elegance brand taking on Zaruka. But it's going to be interesting to also see if Soul and JC are in that Women's Royal Rumble, since they just happen to be absent on this NXT tonight, you know, especially when Zarya is looking for Soul, and then, you know, Fatal Influence comes out and the other 2 come out, and, you know, JC is just magically missing, you know. So it's gonna be interesting to see, y'all. But hey, whether you loved it, hate it, don't forget to rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down, like, share, leave all the comments and things below about your feelings towards NXT. And if you hadn't already, make sure you tag that subscribe button. After you tag that subscribe button, you got to tag the notification bell so you can be notified for the videos we post. Shout outs to the Tag Brethren, Lip Dizzle, Jaeger Bombastic, Juggernaut, and Leo. And until next time, you beautiful, beautiful people out there, love one another, love yourself, take care of one another, and take care of yourself. And do not forget to tag out. Peace.